Mr. Dark Skin Savings, my neighbor. Hey man, today's video, man, we got some casual geographic. We got the smartest black nigga on planet Earth, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to these animals, man. He's a goat, man.
Yeah, goat for real.
Yeah. Hey man, but anyway, man, we got the best aura moments in nature.
Okay.
We ain't gonna waste no time. Let's see what he got for us.
Back out of the way, bitch.
That nigga said, throw it, nigga.
Definitely don't care. That nigga want you, nigga.
Aura. The word, even if it was after the brain rot brigade ruined it for everyone. The definition of aura is not important. It's the feeling. It's commanding an entire room without speaking. It's when your name is spoken. It demands respect. Man, look, we don't even need this intro. You know what aura is. Captain America wielding the hammer of Thor. Or Steph Curry having an entire building watching him shoot. Except for Steph Curry. Experts advising tourists against even saying this bear's name for their safety. Aura. Animals can have it too. And when you talk about aura, this bear might just be the mascot. This is bear number 122, but he's mainly known as the boss. He's a 700-pound walking boulder of a bear and the most dominant grizzly in Banff National Park in Alberta. He's your biggest predator's biggest predator, as the boss has been reported catching, murking, and eating other bears. In fact, one of the first times he ever was seen was while feeding on a recently expired black bear, or at least what was left of him, and officials had to close down the Sundance Canyon Trail until he was done. He's like the carnivore conductor. Everyone has to follow his timing. He's always the last bear to hibernate, but the first one up. He has a home range of about 1,000 square miles, and like Genghis Grizzly, Boss is believed to have fathered 70% of all the bears in Banff. Brother Bear was going to work, unfortunately. With every job, eventually you retire, and one day Boss tragically hit a train and was put down. The train, that is. Yeah, this walking plot armor survived being struck by a train twice.
Damn.
Mind you, trains are the #1 killer of all wildlife in Banff, and Boss regularly uses the tracks as a buffet line to feed on spilled grain, as well as the carcasses of other animals that weren't strong enough to survive when he walked off twice. The definition of war is a bear covered in oil from hours spent eating off the same tracks that should have killed him. But this god of war grizzly doesn't just not fear death, he straight up disrespects it. According to Parks Canada mapping, Boss regularly crosses high-speed, heavy traffic highways like Trans-Canada. And yeah, in case you were curious, that's another leading cause of bears getting disqualified from life. And that's not the only way he disregards death. Believe it or not, if there was something less than nothing, bears would want that to do with us. The best way to avoid a bear is to make enough noise to give the bear a chance to avoid you. And mother bears will actually den closer to people, knowing that'll keep baby aborting males away. Which means, ironically, some bears choose the man. Boss chooses himself. Bear 122 is a common visitor of compost around Banff, and he even forced the town to put up a 9,500-volt electric fence just to keep him from raiding the landfills. There's also that time you had Boss breaking into backyards just to eat from fruit trees. So of course the only option was to cut down the trees. The thing is, Boss was never known to be aggressive to people. To be fair, that's also true for most bears that are alive. But my theory is, he knows damn well we can't do a thing about him. Boss is a whole anime protagonist with predatory hardware, so you shouldn't be surprised that he has his own villain. One day, wildlife photographer John E. Marriott seemingly saw Boss at his worst. He could barely move, he had chunks taken out of his face, and for the first time, he had gotten got. And the most likely culprit, yeah, that would be this guy, Split Lip. Split Lip, or Bear 136, was another mountain of a bear in Banff, and Boss's #1 op. They even have the same ursocidal tendencies.
Damn,
in
nigga!
2015, his tracking collar stopped.
Niggas beefing?
Looking for him were met with Split Lip's discarded collar and a mostly eaten grizzly corpse that wasn't Split Lip. They've been running phase for years, and with both being at least over 20, this beef's likely been marinating over a decade. And with Boss estimated at 28, he proves one thing: beware the old man in a profession where men die young. In fact, even his name is dangerous. Just not in the way you think. You see, when you name an animal, you're basically personalizing them. It's one thing to do it to a dog. It's a different game for a 700-pound wild Rottweiler. It turns animals into celebrities. If you think someone's not logic deficient enough to risk it all for a Boss selfie, yeah, Bison is more than a good buy. It's enough for experts to caution against saying his name out of fear that he might literally gain too much clout for his own good. Think about it. This bear's aura is too strong to have a name. But there's more than one kind of aura, even in the animal world. You ever get that new kid in class that everyone just rocks with? Like the popular kids, the teachers, he can make nice with half the school by lunch. That's that charismatic aura. And this is the picture of it. The story goes, a couple lost their dog while hiking in Kamchatka. Remind me to tell you why that's important later. And they fired up a drone to try and find him. Oh, they did. They found him traveling with 3 bears. There's a lot to unpack here. Number one, bears don't live in packs, thank the natural order for that, but that means this husky had the stones to pull up on a mother bear with cubs and didn't get sent to dog backwards. Not to mention, there are wolves in Kamchatka, meaning bears already have a predilection to canine prejudice. But speaking of Kamchatka, not only does it flex the highest density of brown bears on Earth, the constant fresh supply of salmon means they're one of the few animals alive that could maul a grizzly. So I'm not exaggerating, this dog chose the biggest land predators on the planet and adopted them. Yeah, he adopted them. You can tell they're just barely tolerating him. Whole time the husky's having the time of his life. Does this look familiar? I'll give you a hint. And I just know it was the mom telling the cubs ignore him and he'll go away that got him here. That's the real reason she doesn't suplex his world. Because then she'd be admitting she was wrong. There's no report the couple got their dog back, but I don't think that's not their dog no more. Especially since if I had a nickel for every time
that nigga like where he at, man.
I'd have at least 2 more nickels than I woke up with. Oh, it's more than just dogs. In 2018, a Polish farmer lost one of his cows, and for 2 months straight, she was unaccounted for. That is, until she was caught posted up with a herd of wild, untamed bison. I could make the joke here, but I don't want to give guidelines a chance. So. 2016, I get it. A lot of beluga whales that had adopted a single lone narwhal. Just for reference, narwhals are painfully shy, people-fearing, eternally introverted anxiety whales that could genuinely get past tense by a panic attack. But as of 2022, he's been running with the same beluga squad every year. This is Aura. Also, fun fact, Narluga hybrids are an actual thing, so maybe this is the same vibe. Probably helps that despite resembling a sun-starved dolphin, belugas have the intimidation of a cinnamon roll. Next animal looks like a cinnamon roll, but could absolutely fold you.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit looks scary.
When I saw this video, my first thought, that golden retriever's there strictly for vibes. Come to realize, that's not a golden retriever, it's a furry Grim Reaper. It's a Great Pyrenees, a canine insurance policy built to run phase with wolves and bears. It's old man country strength in a canine's body.
Damn.
You meet someone's Pyrenees for the first time and they're all over you, yeah, that's not affection. It's basically a vibe check, and fail at your own expense, because the moment you do something they don't like to them, or God forbid someone they care about, this is Casper. He's not a ghost, but damn it if he doesn't make him. He's a 21-month-old, 85-pound cotton-tip goofball, at least according to owner John Werville. He lets chickens sleep on his head, he treats the sheep like family, and he's pretty outgoing for a guard dog. Until it's time to go out and be a guard dog. On November 3rd, 2022, 11 coyotes raided the farm in Georgia, and 3 managed to break into a pen. If that wasn't motivation enough, Casper also had a mate, Daisy, who was pregnant with 8 puppies. Casper knew what time it was. Casper cleared the 4-foot hog wire fence and not so gently perp-walked the first 3 off the census in seconds. Casper then jumped the fence again, and this time went after the entire pack. And even with 5 other Pyrenees on the farm, Casper went at it alone. No backup. This was personal. Casper would disappear for 2 days, until reappearing with cuts, torn skin, and a severely injured tail that ended up getting amputated. I showed the other guys, but corpses aren't allowed on YouTube. The next day, people found the bodies of the decommissioned coyotes littered around railroad tracks.
Damn.
Totaling 8 dead coyotes.
Damn.
Remember how many more pups they pressed? I don't believe 8 was an accident. Casper would spend 2
That
weeks
nigga fucked them all up.
8 of
the animal clinic to treat his wounds of war. But thanks to Samaritans donating $15,000 to his medical bills, Casper would make a full recovery. And in 2024, he was voted the People's Choice Pup and won Farm Dog of the Year. Today, Casper's retired, and after single-handedly saving his entire bloodline, as he should. Next animal also retired, but only after saving his entire species. Except this is the one time the aura came from stolen valor. Aura fraud is a crime and is prehistoric plus.
But that's screwed. Fucked up 8 coyotes by himself. That's a dog for real.
No cat.
It was actually ridiculous. You know, they didn't get a scientific name for hundreds of years, all because the sailors traveling with them kept eating them before they made it back to London. It got to the point where the population of giant tortoises on Hispaniola Island was 3 males and 12 females away from getting discontinued permanently. They started a breeding program, but off the bat, only 2 males were able to contribute. That was until they realized that a tortoise living in the San Diego Zoo had actually been born on Hispaniola, and DNA tests confirmed that Diego was exactly what they were looking for, and so recruited him. Diego peeped the census and immediately came to his senses. He locked in. They said, "Go Diego, go." Boy, did he ever. 3 male Hood Island tortoises were brought into the breeding program, and Sir Diego proceeded to score a career high in spreading thighs. Do turtles even have? Yes. With more rounds than its cannon, the amorous anvil with legs spawned 900 children and fathered 40% of all the tortoises born in the program, forever immortalizing him as a turtle who laid so much pipe he carried the species. And I do mean carry. There were 3 males, but one of them literally couldn't bump shells if their species depended on it. Either that or it was one of those watching turtles. Now, I'm not a mathemacologist, but 3 males with one pulling 40% and the other contributing vibes means Diego wasn't the MVP. That turtle was E5, and Logic says his points were responsible for 60% of the output. But apparently Diego being a bigger, louder personality means he siphoned E5's clout, although to be fair, being named after a fucking bingo space didn't help. E5 was quiet, reserved, and rarely witnessed in the act. Meanwhile, Diego was the type to crash Keratin and let the whole island hear about it. This was a Turtle 2 man that went on a legendary run to save their species, which now numbers 2,300 on Española. Both tortoises have retired and have since been returned to their native island almost 80 years after they were first recruited. Moral of the story, there's a lot in a name. Call a bear a boss and they'll act like one. Name a shell jockey after the spawn of Elon, you're setting both up for failure. But failure's not even a concept to the next animal, because when you talk about Aura, this guy might have won himself a life supply. This is Jacob the Ion. Ion, cuz he just refuses to take the L. And earlier this year, he and his brother broke a record in the most unexpected way possible. But to really appreciate how insane this is, you need to know just how they got here. Jacob belongs to a super rare population of tree-climbing lions in Queen Elizabeth National Park. What was really rare was his plot armor. In 2019, 5-year-old Jacob stepped on a wheel trap, a brutal torture device meant to bring down buffalo and hippos. That'd be curtains for most lions, but Jacob managed to escape, although not without sacrificing a leg. And although it was kept alive by primates bringing him food and rangers eventually treating his wound with antibiotics, the chances a 3-legged lion can last more than a year are low, and they were about to get a lot worse. In March 2020, 6 of Jacob's family members were poisoned by poachers and body parts sold on the black market. Being a tripod predator is already life on impossible mode. Doing that without a pride behind you is a for sure death sentence. Death seemed even more certain because 6 weeks after that, Jacob was gored by a buffalo, giving him a gruesome puncture hole in his chest. Somehow Jacob survived everything, but the jihad of life didn't end there. Even with brother Tibu by his side, there's one big risk with being a lion without a pride, and one night, it happened. Jacob and Tibu lost a fight with a rival group of males, and as lion culture states, all losers must be banished from the territory. Problem was, the only way out involved crossing the Kazinga Channel, a channel believed to hold the world's largest population of hippos and crocodiles. A massive threat to an Afro-Kitty's way.
Holy shit.
Jacob had already beat the odds like a Cherokee drum, but this time had to be too much. They did it. Jacob and Tibu swam nearly a mile across croc and hippo seasoned waters at night. It was the longest distance a lion has ever been recorded swimming. In Kazinga, most don't make it past 100 meters. The brothers lasted a length of 14 football fields, and the craziest part, it didn't take one try. It took 3 attempts, and one of them ended with a mysterious creature stalking them and forcing the pair back to shore. Do you know the nerve it takes to swim through a steroid lizard luncheon and a hippo pool party in the dark for 45 minutes straight while having no way of knowing if something's following you? What even motivates 2 lions to risk their entire lives swimming through a literal, that'd do it. You see, lions often
That's
mark
crazy,
their territory
bro.
with roaring, and after losing that crucial fight,
14
prepare for the
football
sounds
field
of lionesses and the promise of promiscuity
heavily
on the other
dense
side of
populated
the
fucking
lioness,
water full of
them boys
hippos.
in it for the lion yash. Let's pray this lion gets laid, because that DNA going to waste would be the real tragedy. Second time this video, animals went on a 2
He must be Nigerian, huh?
But the next animals at the ratio of destruction hell-bent on destroying everyone else's. But if you know anything about honey badgers, you know this Oreo otter puts the aura in horrifying. The same dust weasel that sleeps off snake venom and goes 3v1 on hyenas.
Yeah, them niggas can't be poisoned.
There wasn't a honey menace with
Y'all knew that, right?
Yeah.
Then Stoffel. Let me tell you something about Stoffel. Stoffel is disrespect in the form of a black Air Force bull cut weasel. He's the mascot of habitual line stepping, and like IBS, you can't stop him, you can only pray to contain him. He was actually found by caretaker Brian Jones, credits to the weasel distribution system, but Stoffel is like a 4-legged tornado in his home, nuking the place and daring him to do something about it. Eventually, he brought Stoffel to the Mahala Hala Animal Rehabilitation Center, and if you think being around other animals calmed this Tasmanian devil, you don't know Stoffel. There wasn't a single animal this furry thumbtack wouldn't beef with, from messing with a rhino 100 times his size, to running a fade with a serval next door, to even folding an adult tawny eagle. No foul. He'd also harass kitchen staff and help himself to the fridge. Who was gonna stop him? And it turned out Stoffel wasn't fit to be released to the wild, so this
That nigga's a gang member.
At one point, he
Nigga
dug
banging.
a fence and started bullying the lions.
Otter gang,
Simply
nigga.
chasing the tail around and trying to bite his lion bits. The lion actually grabbed Stoffel, but fun fact, honey badgers are built like a comeback, and loose skin around the neck, man, he could turn around and bite the lion right back. He must have been feeling himself, because Stoffel ended up going back to the lions a second time, and nearly got mauled to death, spending over 2 months in the animal hospital. And the first thing this monochrome crash out did, fresh out, was try to get it back in blood. At this point, Ryan knew he had to lock up his war weasel for his own good, and that's when things really got disrespectful. In his new enclosure, Stoffel climbed a tree by a wall and got out. Should have seen that coming, but then they removed all the trees by the wall. The convict spent all night bending and twisting a branch until it broke, carried it to a wall, leaned it against, and escaped again. So now all the trees were out.
God damn, this nigga is...
That nigga a different
This nigga really isn't... Like, yeah, bro, he can't be stopped.
A few mud piles later, and Harry Houdini humbled them again. One time
This
someone made a
nigga
mistake
here.
leaving a rake in there. Guess what he did? At one point, they thought they were bringing in a love interest named Hammy, but all they really did was literally gift them a partner in crime. Like Shadow Clone Jutsu, now there was 2 of them. There was one night Stoffel broke into his caretaker's home via rocks to the wall.
Nah, these niggas is gangsters, bro.
What the fuck? Sometimes it's about sending a message. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show nigga. He made it clear that every second he was behind a wall was a choice, because there's a twist. It was all a game. The Weasel Menace had been hand-raised by humans his entire life and had imprinted on them. He wasn't going anywhere. Fun fact, honey badgers are like the mama's boys of mustelids, with pups staying with their mothers for up to 2 years. As far as Stoffel was concerned, Brian was mama. So yeah, Casper was fueled by family, and Jacob's motivation was hooning some tatas. This dusty sand weasel was memeing the entire time.
Look
I
at
checked,
this
he's still
nigga.
alive. He's currently 27 and has lost most of his teeth, but he still has Hammy to chew his meals for him. Stoffel even has a son named Stompy, guaranteeing that the family business is alive at least another generation. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video.
I think you're biting on
a hug your mother.
rhino
If you ever
nose.
wanna be Stoffel,
Nah, them
you
niggas.
should probably get on that. And I'm gonna see y'all
When I
in
see
the
that.
next one.
Damn, dude.
Nah, that nigga bang.
That nigga so on set, nigga. I do this shit for real. No
Badger
cap.
just said,
gang, bitch. Badger
yeah.
gang, bitch. BGB, nigga.
GB, nigga.
Nah, that's crazy.
Nah, I think Badger's like one.
Them niggas is smart as fuck, bro.
Hell yeah.
This one in particular is, nigga.
That thing like he.
That motherfucker, you can't put him behind those cells,
That
nigga.
nigga will find a way to get up.
And he will find a way to get that.
That nigga literally built mud all the way to the top, bro.
And climb that shit. That nigga saw a rake. He said, "Yep."
He said, hold on, let me use this one real quick, man.
I can use this. I can climb with this.
Nigga said, oh, it's a tire? Yeah, let me lift this bitch.
Put this bitch against the wall.
Hey, man, but anyway, man, that'll be it for today's video, man.
We hope you guys enjoyed,
Yes,
man. Let us
sir.
know y'all opinion in the comment section about the video, and let us know what you guys want us to check out next.
Yes,
and
sir.
please don't forget to
Like, share, and subscribe if you're new. God loves you, God bless you, and Weezy out.